right? So we already saw how to use the sum function. Then we use the round function to round up values. We calculated average using average function, and then we saw how to use charts. So how many of us did the assignments that I gave? Raise your hand if you did the assignment. Unfortunately, let me even count first. The, how many of us did the assignments? So just five people on the call. Well, out of 18 of us that are on the call did the assignment. So why did the others not do the assignment? I guess we should talk about that first before we continue. Why did the 13 other people not do the assignment from last class? I hope you all saw the recording, Sha. I sent the recording to the group, to the channel rather. You all saw that, right? Pretty sure I did. Yeah, I did. Abi? Yeah, week 2, class 2. You were not aware of that. Hmm. How come? Because people joined the class. So how did they know that we have class? And also, I sent an email ahead of time that classes are now Mondays and Wednesdays. Means you've not been checking Slack. Uh, yes. Tiamaka says yes. Okay, but because I asked if you saw the recording. Exams. Okay. So like some of you are taking exams now. Hmm. That's tough, because you need very soon attendance will be very sorry attendance like Hope has said. I don't know if she's on the call, but one of the facilitators for this program said attendance would now be taken, and we will start taking attendance from today. All the remaining about 50 plus. I'm saying 50 plus because I'm well aware that there's 17 of us on the call, but I'm saying like 50 because from I think the very first class last week, we had like 40 people in attendance. So I'm giving those 40 the benefit of the doubt and saying they might still be active. But of the 40 non 50 or 40 plus non active people that are just sitting on the channel doing nothing. Uh After they missed 2 weeks and you've not been taking attendance, means you've not been coming to class, then you'll be removed from the program. So because the only way to get the most out of the program is by coming to classes, by completing the tasks that you are given. Other than that, this is just a waste of your time, and it's better if you just enroll for a different program. Maybe uh, when there's more time on your hands, so that would make more sense. So yeah, I very towards the end of today's class, I'll share the means for taking attendance. Then we can all do that. We've always said that if you have any issues, mention them on the group. So this shouldn't be a case of, oh, I had an issue and that was why I missed that class or I couldn't do one thing. You know, we've said it before that you should send messages to either me or the facilitators and they will help you out. Yeah, okay. Let me just check the drive real quick to see. how many people actually submitted. Nonetheless, in today's class, we'll be talking about. So, if you recall, I said we'll be talking about the if function and we'll do conditional formatting as well. After those two things, there's only like I think one more class, then we'll start SQL. Yeah, sorry about that. So after just one more class, then it's SQL. I believe. Just let me check your assignments. Hold on. I don't have time to check it yet, but like I said, very soon it will be just as important as attendance. So starting today, attendance will start to be taken. Then you know the rule. If you miss 2 weeks, that's 4 classes. Then that's it. For assignments, more information will be shared the moment they become, as important. But for now, you're free to do or not do it. uh, just give me a minute. Okay. So, so with 2 assignments, second one. Wow, this is actually impressive. There's quite a number of submissions here. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Wow, 30 submissions. Yes. This is how your attendance should also look like. If you're getting numbers like this is actually quite small compared to the number of people that's still less than half of the people that we have in this entire track. So kudos, but more work still needs to be done. Okay. So I'm not going to pick some. I'm seeing this fancy looking pie chart here. Let's look at this. Then I should actually grade this because of the effort that you put into it, but I have a lot of. I'm not seeing pie charts in some people's one. This looks like a very plain table, and well, from afar, let me check what that looks like. It does. Okay. Totals, average. Yeah, I said this should be okay. Okay. 4 decimal places. Good. Good. Now, so we have. Okay, this is descending. Okay, I said pick any order, right? So this person decided to do descending order. Okay, should even label it here. This is it unsorted. Then this is it sorted. Oh right, because okay. It looks this part was looking like it was sorted already. It's not. Okay. It's for 7, right. And this is the pie chart. Cool, nice work. I will send. Actually, we need a better way for giving feedback on your assignments, which is something that I need to get on top of with the facilitators. So we'll see how we can get a bit. So basically, what I have in mind, or the goal would be when you make a submission for an assignment and you want to get feedback on okay, how well did I do this assignment? What am I missing? As it should be a case where you probably just get an email that you have a new comment. Actually, that's possible. That you have a new comment on your assignment. The comment being your reviewers comment on the person, whomever it is that is reviewing your assignment will drop a comment there, and Yeah, we'll look into that. For now, just bear with all of this for now. Then before we get the proper reviewing system. Mhm. Yeah, pretty much all of you did well with the assignment. Uh, I will just let's just go on to today's what we'll be doing today. So today I said we'll be talking about conditionals, or rather how to add logic to your Excel spreadsheets. So, and particularly this will be using the if function. So, and it can be quite useful. Say for example, you have a list of scores of student grades, right? Which is actually what we'll be using to demonstrate this. So, but like, say you have, or rather, let me keep that one for later. And say you have a bill, like an invoice, or rather, no, not an invoice, some sort of balance, yeah, balance spreadsheet or whatever. So that you and there's a total so you say you have a total balance or is it balance? Yeah. So you have something like this, and then you have a value like the balance is 8,000. So and then uh you want to make it so that if something happens, say something like this person pays money or pays for a bill, maybe NEPA or whatever. A child pays money. You now want to make it that when someone pays money, and let's say you have another column that represents something like, let's say, expenses. So, and you put some value in here. Say you put, say you spend 1,000 on shawarma. So when you put a value there, you now want the condition to do something like, if some value enters expenses or under this column of expenses or this F column, then deduct an amount or deduct the amount that was spent from the total balance. And this would, so what that would mean is that the value of bill will change depending on some condition. So that's such a powerful concept, but like, how do we use or how do we make use of such a concept in our spreadsheets? It is very much possible using if the if function. Can you all hear me well?
Yes.
Okay.
I don't get what you said.
What?
Like I don't get it. I don't get what you just said.
Oh, you don't get what I said. So what I'm saying is, I'm just trying to explain what you can accomplish with if the if function. If is if, like if the song if by
Mm-hmm.
Davido. If so with the if function, you can write logic or add logic to your spreadsheet. So I was giving an example that say you had a cell that holds a value, and that value represents the total balance of someone, for example. And you can just imagine like an account balance that you are storing in a spreadsheet or something for whatever purposes. So it's here you have total balance is 8,000. So now ideally when you remove money from your bank or from your account, or you spend money, you withdraw money from POS or you will buy food or whatever, your balance will reduce now. So in essence, how do you make it so that, this is an example. I'm not saying this is the sole purpose of if. This is an example of what you can accomplish with if. It's not that you only use if to reduce money from one cell or reduce value from. You can do whatever it is you want. So basically, we are saying if you spend money, it's semantically correct that your balance should reduce, or logically correct that your balance should reduce when you spend money. So in the same way, let's say I wanted to create that same behavior in Excel, in my Excel spreadsheet. If I had a column called expenses that represents how much I am spending relative to my balance, this expenses here, and I removed 1,000 on something like shawarma, for example, then I should automatically deduct that 1k from this balance. If I want to accomplish that, then oh, you want me to zoom in? Okay, hold on. Can you see it now? Is it okay now? See, there's total balance 8,000, expenses 1,000. So if I wanted to accomplish that, then I would use this if function, and I'll show you how you can do that. So the if function has, to use if, it follows a syntax, much like all the other functions that we've been using. It follows a syntax, right? And the syntax looks something like this. Let me zoom in again. Can you see this? Can you all see this? Hello? Can you see this? What is here?
Yes. Yes, yes.
Okay. So you see, it says if, then a bracket like all the other functions. It's a function like the other ones. Sum, round, all of those other ones. It's just like them. So you have if, then a bracket, logical tests. I'll get to what each one means. Comma, value if true, comma, value if false. Right. So the logical test is a statement, or yeah, it's a statement that can either be true or false. And let's go back to this example here. If I wanted to use that if logic to automatically deduct an amount here. So when we say it out loud, the logic there is that if some amount enters this column, that means if I enter another expense here, that's 200. Don't even let us talk in terms of Excel. Let's just say if money is spent, deduct from balance. But actually, I've said too much. If money is spent, that alone is the logical test, right? The logical test, and it doesn't even include the if that I said. It's just money is spent. The logical test is money is spent. It's a statement. It could be true or false. How do we know if it's true? Like, to check here. But then, that's where we now get into the we check basically. Forget getting into anything. This is a statement that can either be true or false. Then it will check and verify that. So you don't need to think about this in terms of which sheet is the money spent in or which cell is money spent in. This is just a broad statement that can be true or false. Obviously, when we are writing something like this in Excel, we can't just say money is spent. We need to define the statement in terms of cells or our rows and columns in Excel, or the things that Excel has. That's how we do it in Excel. But generally, and even as far as actual programming languages are concerned, this is how. And when you get to Python, you will see if statements there. They exist throughout. This concept of using if is called logic. It exists throughout uh, programming languages, all programming languages. So it's a very important concept in computer science. Now you now have value if true. So this value if true is based, the remaining last two values or arguments that go into the if function depend on this first logical test. So basically, it depends on the statement. Value if true is basically what should we do, or what value should we put there, if should we assume if this is true. Simply put, if this statement is true, what should we do? That's what this is saying. This second one, if this statement is false, what should we do? That's what this second one is for. If true, if false. So if money is spent, we want to deduct balance, deduct amount spent from balance. If true. If false, keep balance same. Meaning don't deduct that, don't deduct anything, just leave the value as it is. You guys understand the concept now? Any questions? Hello, any questions? Hmm? You said no. Okay. Alright. So I think everyone understands the idea now. So now let's now use it. Let's see the if function in action. So let's say I have a value here. Actually, let's just use this 8,000. This is 8,000. Not quite clear. Let's start working with values. Okay. Yeah. So let's say we have this value here. We can write an if condition. We can use the if function here basically. Let me say it like that. So we say we'll start like as we do with other functions, equal to sign, then if, then we write our statement in here. Remember, the first thing we write is logical test, or the statement, like I said. And the statement we want to make is that if the value of this cell that we are currently in is cell B3, right? Or don't let me use the one I'm currently in. Let's use this one, F4. Let's use cell F4. F4 has a value of 1000, right? We can say if F4 is greater than the value of F4 is great. That's the value inside of that cell. Let's say if it's greater than 15, that's his statement. Let me bring it out. Let's single that one out. This thing is selecting. Hold on. Let's just single that hair statement out. F4 greater than 15. You see that this is just a state. This is a statement. From inspection, let's look at it with our own natural like from inspection. When we observe with our eyes, we see that F4 is 1000. It is indeed greater than 50, but Excel doesn't know this. Like, as it is staying in this cell, it doesn't know for sure unless you put it inside this if block. So unless you want to use this value this inside of logic, then it will manually check by itself and figure it out whether or not this is true. Basically, what I'm saying is, if you don't force it to ask or verify that that statement is true, it doesn't care whether or not it is true. So F4 is greater than 50, true, but like, what are we doing with that statement? That's where that's where you use this if function. So don't select anything. So that's how you write statements. The other way is to see more examples, but generally that's the idea. So I'm writing a statement that says f4 is greater than 50. Statement, whether it's true or not, Excel will find out. Then the next one is value if true, as you can see here. So if this statement happens to be true, what do you want Excel to do? Me, I want it to just say greater than 15 if it is true. If false, we can say less than or equal, because that statement is explicit. It says F4 is explicitly greater than 50. It's not giving you room for maybe it's equal to now. It just says it's greater than straight up. So anything from 50.1, at least 10th decimal kidney is will make this statement true. So less than or equal to 50. And once you have that, just press enter, and now you see that that cell is now saying greater than 50. Why? Because this if function made it so. The if function checked. Why is it? The if function checked if f4 is greater than 50, and then it did what we asked it to do. If that was the case, so this is the kind of powerful formatting that you can add to your Excel spreadsheet, right? And there are a number of different comparison operators that you can use, or they are called conditional operators in Excel, whichever one. I think there's just four of them. So there's greater than, which is one I just used now. There's greater than or equal to. There's less than or equal to, and not equal to. So that's five of them. That's five of them. So do you understand that so far? Any questions? Is it clear now, Evans? So there are no questions. It's only Chiamaka that is saying anything now.
It's good to understand.
Okay. Marvelous. I've never heard you say anything in this class. And who else doesn't look familiar? Yes, Joyce, Jude, Bruno. What is your status? Yeah, or is it clear? Do you have questions? Bruno, are you on the call? Bruno Mars. Okay, Bruno Wangbo. Okay, it's clear, Abby. So yeah, that's how you use them. We can try other comparison conditional operators as well. I'm just going to edit it from here. So less than. So I change it to say if f4 or so f4 is less than 50, put greater than 50. Else put less than or equals 50. Sounds counterintuitive, but don't be fooled by it, because it says less than or equal. That's just what I asked it to put there. It doesn't mean that f4 is indeed less than 50. It's because I said if this statement is true. Oh, okay. Hope is there. So it's because I said if this statement is true, put greater than 50. But this statement is not true because f4 is not less than 50. That's why this second one here is what is showing. That's why it's there. But when we read that statement, it's confusing because this, when you read it out, it almost as if it's saying uh, f4 is indeed less than 50, but it's not. But then if you look at the logic behind the code, I'm just going to say code at this point because this is kind of like code, is programming somehow. So f4 less than 50 if it's true, write this. If it's not true, so it's the same. I hope it's not confusing, child. Anyways, we can also change this to greater than or equal to 50. So if f4 is greater than or equal to 50, this we will say greater than 50. Otherwise, we say less than. So it's saying greater than. Jesus. It's saying greater than 50 now because that statement is true. F4 is indeed greater than or equal to 50. It's not equal to 50, but it is greater than. And that's what that greater than or equal to means. This is how you write it. You write the greater than or right angle bracket with followed by an equal to sign in front, which makes sense. So when you say when you write a statement like this, let's put sorry f4. When you write a statement like this, you are saying that 5 is greater than or equal to the value here, which is 1000. It's different from when you're saying 5 is greater than f4 because there's an overlap there between, if you use greater than or equal to, there's an overlap between what is on the left and what is on the right, meaning that what is on the right, meaning that for this statement to be true, what is on the right is allowed to be what is on the left and greater, right? However, if it is greater than what is on the left is not for this statement to be true, what is on the left is not, sorry, what is on the right is not allowed to be equal to what is on the left. We read the statement from left to right. We say 5 greater than. We don't say f. If you want to read it from the left, from the right to the left, then the sign will change. It will now be f4 less than 5. So, yeah. If you want to read it from, you change the sign. But because we are reading, 15 minutes now. Okay. But because we're reading it from the left. That's why I'm saying it that way. So what is on the right is not allowed to be equal to the value. So this is saying strictly greater than 5. Right? Sorry, f4 is strictly less than 5 rather. So 5 is strictly greater than f4. Anyway you say it, Sha, it does. If you get, hopefully you get the idea. So 5, I'm just saying here that greater than or equal to is not the same as greater than. And same goes for less than, right? It's not the same as less than or equal to. Less than, the same syntax, you put equal to in front if you want, or equal to. If you want to make a statement that says something greater than or equal to, or something less than or equal to, you put the equal to sign in front. Then for not, which is you are saying something is not equal to another thing, you use the 2. This is how you represent it. So I'm saying if you say 5 is not equal to f4, let's use that in here. Let me change this to, let's just say it should print true or false depending on whether the statement is true or not. So here we'll write this. So that statement says f4 is not equal to 50. That's true. f4 is clearly 1000. That's why we said if it's true, print true. If it's false, print false. Or write false there. So, that's what that one does. This one. So those are the five different operators. Let me send a screenshot of them, of each one of them to the group. Just give me a minute. Just download the app now. Why are you running away from downloading the app?
in the class. So
What?
I'm already in the class. Never mind. Nobody has sent me the message.
Oh, you're already in class, man. So yeah, if you see, I sent the screenshots to the group, so you can see all of the different operators that you have. Then yeah, so it's good to know those ones because you keep them in mind. You'll be able to create whatever expression you need to create, so you don't forget them. So now one very good use case for this would be if you had say you have like a spreadsheet of student scores. So let's quickly create one, a spreadsheet of scores. So if you are, let's say you are in a school and you want to grade students performance for subjects, and you want to give them the letter grade, so you have A, B, C, D to F. Then depending on so different schools have different grading systems. So for some 70 is A, for some you have to be 75, for some it's even worse than that, for some it's 75, 70 is like a B, or even less. So basically if you don't do something like that, you can use uh if the if function to accomplish that. So let's do a quick exercise. So what we'll do is we'll create, so write some subjects here: math, English, is it computer science? They call it data and data. Well, in my time it was called data processing. Then sci what else? Chemistry, physics, economics, biology. How many is that? One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. Okay, one more. Accounting. Right. Then let's put student names here. Joseph. Okay, Mary. George. Uh, Nelly. Fanta. This should already give you a good idea of what your assignment would look like for this week. So subjects here, student names here. Let's fill in some random numbers. This is like this first class. By the way, any questions so far? Okay. She. I'm not sure how to pronounce your name, but you're raising up your hand. You can turn on your mic. Chiemeli. Sorry if I butchered your name, but it seems you have a question. You can just on your mic and ask a question. No, not you, Chiamaka. Someone is raising their.
I don't have a mistake.
What?
I raised up the hand by mistake. I raised up the hand by mistake. I don't have any question.
Oh, okay. Alright. If I failed. Failed what? Oh, yeah. Hope you guys have filled the assignment. Sorry, the attendance. Hope just sent it though. Is she still on the call? Did you did you all feel it? If you're on the call, you should feel.
Sorry, where did that from?
It's in the chat, call chat. Let me copy it and send it again. fill the attendance. So, hey, let me be. While I, if you are following along, you can just fill in some random values for each person on each subject. So let's go. Joseph, let's give him a 72. Give him a 76, 18, 65, 66. English, we do 78, 24, 50, 65, 77, 68. Say, 25, 60, 86. Okay, actually, I should spread these values out so we can. It's fine. 60. Chemistry. Who has not had a win here? George has been having 80 back to back. Let's give him 60 here. Actually, I had a 65. Okay. This person needs a win. Also, you need a win. 70, 7. But it's let's see, it's 7, 7, what is 9? Too much. Good. Okay. Right. So now let's do a. Should we put an average? Do they do average before they give them scores? I mean, they just give them their. So yeah, let's just do grade here. So let's do something. We will. So write one if for. Actually, maybe we should probably have a separate column for each one. Then we'll spread those values out. So let me label. So this will be another table. Let me label it here as. Where's our merge? Okay. Graded scores. Grade scores. Right. We'll have Joseph, Nelly, and Samantha here. So what I want to do is to have. So our logic here. Let me just define the metric for. It seems this call will soon close. 3 minutes left. So basically, what I want to define here. So we'll define like a metric here for what range of values grade A would be in, range of values grade B will be in, grade C to, then we'll do it down like that to F. Then using that, we will write some conditional statements in each of these boxes that will fill the values based on what they scored. So, for example, Joseph here scored 72, right? Now, when we are doing the graded scores, what will happen is write one if statement here. Say check what Joseph's score was. Then, if it falls within the range that A should be in, then you put A there. If not, you put B. You put whatever. So we'll see that once we join the call again. So let me send. Has everyone filled the attendance before we switch to another call?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll send another link in a minute. Just you can leave this call now.
I don't see.
Standing up. For 16. Yeah, welcome back. So, hello, Hope. Do you mind sharing the attendance form one more time?
Okay, I'll do that now.
Thank you. So, as I was saying, we'll share. Sorry, we'll do a like an index for every possible grade. I'm just making this one up. I'm just making this up. This doesn't reflect what happens in actual academia, but anyhow. So yeah, so I've just been doing this be- before you joined. So anything from like a 0 to 19, that's F. Actually, I think this is a fair grading system. Cause how you get 40 and you get, I mean, yeah, you get 40 and you get E. Anyways, I'm just saying. So yeah, uh, let's now see how we can use the if statement to try and work stuff out here. So you notice that let's start with this one first. Sadly, nobody seems to be failing in this. So maybe we actually have to make some of them fail some courses so that we can see the other grades here. Was I think the lowest one here is what's the smallest value? I think 60 is the smallest. There's no 50. Okay, 58 is the smallest in chemistry. It's not even 58, it's 56, right? It's 56. I'm just looking with my eye, so I could have sorted this or something, but anyways. So yeah, 56. So which is yeah, but you see how I was sorting? I was using my eyes to search for stuff. Hopefully, you guys will be easier for you now that you know how to sort. If you had a data set and trying to look for what the smallest number is, one way you can do is just sort that column and look at you sort it in ascending order, then you look at the very first value, and that's your smallest number, right? So I'm just saying, like, that's one thing that you attending the last class will help you to would have helped you with. So yeah, 56, but like 56 is within a C, so that means everybody here will be getting some kind of A or B. Nobody is failing here. We'll make some of them fail, just so we can, for the purpose of demonstration. So for Joseph, now we'll write that if statement again. So if so the condition here is that Joseph's score, which is in cell B for yes, please fill the attendance if you haven't filled it now, because she's going to close it towards the end of the call. I don't even know what the time lapse for it. It's not going to be open for in perpetuity. It's just for this small session we're having. She'll close it to the next class. See, if you were on the call and you didn't feel it and you missed to do the attendance, it's on you, because this is like the third time that I saying fill the attendance. So please fill the attendance if you haven't. The link is in the call chat. For those that just joined, I'll send it again. So back to the sheet. If so, what we want to check is the score. So Joseph's score is in cell B4. So say if so now it has to be within a range. So we are only going to give Joseph a score of what's it called? A grade A if his score falls between 75 and 100. If not, we'll give him a score of what's it called? we'll give him any other score. Wherever his score falls in between. So, but like, how do you manage that? Especially if you have so because for so in the last examples we've only seen how basically it's either true or false, right? But what if the value could be one of multiple possible values? Like in this case, it could be one out of A or A to F, the values between A to F. But here, okay, let me just try something simple here. Let's say if B4, is it B4? Yeah. So if B4 is greater than or equal to uh 75, so I'm saying from 75 upwards, right? We can put, we don't really care about putting an upper bound because we could if we wanted to, especially in cases where doing such will be important because you don't want to assign values that are outside of bounds. So this one, if you put 1000 here, which is an invalid score, it will still qualify. But if we wanted to like fight against that and putting invalid scores in our sheet, we could add like some other condition here to check again that if it's within range. So it's not just greater than 70, greater than or equal to 75, but it also has to be less than or equal to 100. So in between 75 and 100, that's how you would write a proper range condition. So, but anyways, I'm just saying that's an aside. But let's ignore that for now. We say before is greater than or equal to 75. If it's greater than, if this statement is true, we'll give him an A, right? If it's not true, what should we give him? Should we automatically give him a B or a C or a D, or what do we put here? If I just say give him a B, that's acting in blind faith because you're not 100% sure that the value there is indeed going to fall in that range of B. You have to manually, you still have to check, right? So to do that, you need to now put another if statement. I want to, yeah, another if statement. Generally, what, and from now on, I won't be saying if function or whatever. This entire thing is an if statement. In programming, you'll be hearing things like if block. The reason why they call it blocks is because you know how we are writing in a straight line here, in a single line. In languages, you can spread out conditions into multiple lines, and you can write very, very complex instructions for what should happen if a condition is true. But this one is just one line, so it's fine. You can also do something similar, which is where I was getting to with what's it called, if statements, right? So where I was going to is that you can't just put B here because that's blind faith. Instead of doing that, you now put another if block. It's complex. It becomes complex that way, and we can nest if functions over and over again, and we'll see how that is now. So instead of me putting, so we've done the true part. The true part is the easy one because if this is true, our work is done. We'll just put, if this statement is true, put the value that should be there. But what if it's not now true? What if the possibilities span beyond just the one other value that it could be? In this case, there's about, how many are there? One, two, three, four, five other possible values that it could be if this statement is not true. So how do we handle that? We now put another if block here, right? So instead of me to just put B, I will now say if again, put another bracket. Notice this time that I didn't need to put the equal to sign. You only put it outside here one time, and that's fine. You now put another if block in here, then you check again. If B4, so now we're now checking against a much more, a better, smaller range. So we're now checking the range of, we're checking the range of B now. The B range is one such that the value has to be between 65 and 74. So but for now we only care about the lower limits. Lower limits is just 65. So we say if it's equal to 65 or is greater than. So if V4 is greater than or equal to 65, then we'll put what? We'll put a B here, right? Now what do we put if it's not, if this statement is not true again another if statement. Why? Because obviously we can't just say C because we don't know for sure that value is C. We need to check again. Is what I'm saying making sense? Do you guys understand so far?
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, great. So you see the essence of why you need to nest if statements sometimes. If the values, the possible values, just one or the other, then it's fine. You can just use one level if statement. But now we are entering level two of if statement because we've nested one level deep. Now there's another if statement here. So instead of me saying C, I'll now put another if statement again, and you can do this over and over again for as long as needed. So, and you need to be careful with this bracket, right? The bracket must close. The number of bracket has to be even. Number of opening brackets needs to be equal to number of closing brackets. Is the easy way to keep track of it, because you can make mistake and not close one if block, and then you'll be getting syntax errors. So you need to be careful with your. You can obviously track it down by just looking at the semantics and saying, okay, this if here opens here, it opens here, Abby. Where is the ending? Is here. And if you are using dark mode, can I even switch to dark mode? That would be better. But anyways, if you're using dark mode, you may be able to see, because when you click on one bracket, I think it will highlight the closing bracket for you, so you can see. I can see it very faintly here. It's harsh color. You may not be able to see from there, but even me can't see really well. So yeah, that's just another thing to keep in mind. So here we'll now write another statement again, that if b4 is greater than or equal to the C 50, which is lower limit for C, then we'll put a, what's it called? We'll put a C there. So this one will be a C. So but now you notice that chances are this thing here will probably give us the same answer for all of them, because I'm saying greater than or equal to 75 here, Abby. Then at least for levels where uh for levels where your value is just greater than the rest of all of this, but less than what A has to offer. So if you have, oh, you know what? Never mind. Never mind. I'm overthinking. Anyways, this is how you would write the, what's it called? This is how you would nest those if statements. So you now have another one here. So if before greater than or equal to 50, we put a C there. If it's not, then we put what, another if block, because we still have three more available, like possible uh options. So another if block to check yet another condition, which is kind of long to write again, but anyways, so yeah, if but this time around it should be, the lower bound is 30, so we'll put 30 there. The else another if statement. Another if statement. Did I close that? Okay. See how it can get confusing real quick. So I else another if statement. This time around, greater than or equals to 20. We'll put E. Else we'll put another if statement. Here, before greater than or equal to, we've done E, Abby. E is 20, greater than or equal to 0. We'll put F there. And now we are done. So we've now written if statements for every possible option that can that we could have. So now, if we change the value of Joseph to, let's say, 56, observe his grade changes to C. Did you all see that? You saw what happened when I changed the value. Observe that his grade changes to C. Same, let me give him back his glorious mark, and he changes back to B. Right? So we'll do the same thing for Mary. We'll now use autofill today because obviously we don't want to be writing these jargons all the time. Hopefully autofill knows what to do here, but I'm pretty sure he does. Hopefully. Let's do the same for Mary. But the only difference though is the cell label. So this one is B4, this one is going to be what? C4, right? So Mary, you take the same value except your own will be C4. Bam. Mary has an A in math, so let's highlight those two. So we've defined the logic. Remember autofill now. You define the logic, then you spread out. So let's wait for it to. It made maybe it's my internet sharp, but because this is a much more complex what's it called? Much more complex logic. It might take some time to fill in, but yeah, it got the hang of it. It's not even that complex. I mean, it's just changing cell, the cells, right? So we have Mary here is A, C4. Okay, we wrote this first to ourselves. So George, let's inspect. George should be D4 all through. So yeah, D4. Nelly should be E4. This one too. F, Abby. F4, right? So let's define that for English language. Do you guys get what I'm doing? Do you understand? Any questions?
Question.
Huh? Did you say there was? I didn't hear you.
Yes, I said I have a question.
Oh, you have a question? Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. Well, first of all, is it that the number of brackets that determine how you start the statement should be the number of brackets that closes that same statement?
Sorry, do you mind repeating that?
I said that, like, for this statement that I wrote, I'm saying to determine the number of brackets that
Mm-hmm.
closes, is usually weighed by the number of brackets that starts the statement in the first place. That starts each statement. Is that what will determine the number of brackets that will end it?
Right, good question. So the thing is, I don't want you to think about it in terms of number of number of brackets that open a statement. If you understand the fundamental way that if statements are written, it will help you to know if your brackets are correct. But an easy way of recognizing it is you count the number of open brackets you have. Count the number. I mean, when I say open bracket, I mean this is the opening bracket. Count the number of opening brackets you have. Count the number of closing brackets you have. If they are not equal, then you have a problem there. Is the point, because, and how do we know? Because it should be the exact same number, because when you write if statement you use an opening bracket, then you close it. Now if inside of this first if statement you now write another if inside, you expect the same kind of syntax, because this nested if should also have two brackets, one closing, one opening as well. And if you spread that out, it's two. It goes out in a factor of two, right? So the number of if statements you have times two is the number of brackets that you should have. So if you count, that's why if you count the number of opening brackets here, right, it should uh it should be equal to the number. First of all, it should be even. then also it should be equal to the number of closing brackets that you have. So, well, I mean, the total number will be even, not the individual. Total number of brackets is even, but then total number of closing should be equal to the total number of opening, if that makes sense. So what you need to keep track of is,
Okay.
you see, the reason why I'm saying don't just, because even if you just count in some, well, maybe because this is Excel and you can just write it in one line, right? But then if it's also advantageous to just know which if statement itself, or which if function is missing a bracket, because that way you can just say, okay, this is one that is missing a bracket. Because in you, if you don't know which one it is, you just count. In hindsight, you just put one extra bracket there. You know which one is missing, and I mean which kind of bracket is missing, and you just put it there. But you don't really know which if statement it's what was missing, a whether an opening or a closing bracket. To demonstrate, let's just delete this one here. This is the fourth one counting from the right. You press enter now. You see it doesn't evaluate to anything because there's a problem here. It's saying is highlighted in red because I didn't put it there. But it is, if you have very long if statements like this, the cheat will just be to count the number of brackets, opening brackets. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 opening brackets. Now closing brackets 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that means that closing brackets is missing one. But which exact if statement doesn't have its closing bracket? You don't know for sure, but you can check manually. You can look at, say that okay, this is where this if so, but then you don't want to waste all of that time, so you just put one extra bracket there and you press enter and it works. So that's the gist there, Sha.
Okay, this from
Eh?
okay, this my second question.
Okay.
My second question, very quickly, please.
Yeah, go on.
For when we're calculating the column under Mary, you have to start manually writing C for C for.
Mm-hmm.
Is there a particular way or reference that you can use? Although the one I'm aware of, I think is absolute referencing or is it relative referencing. So instead of you just manually putting the C for C for each of the columns, assuming there's a big data set, what else can you do in that kind of situation?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
Did you get my question?
No. So you said I was manually changing the value of what of uh this
For
cell name, Abby.
instead of you to like autofill, although you said that
Sure.
to like bring out error. So I'm asking like, is there a particular reference that you can use instead of you doing that manually? Like the one I'm aware of is absolute referencing, whereby they put a dollar sign or something. I don't know if you can explain.
Right. So, well, I'm not aware of that. I don't know how would that work. So you just put a dollar sign and it tells you where you are. I'm asking you. I'm
You
not,
put a dollar sign
yeah.
or I think because I was just it was just yesterday I
You
was
know what?
doing
You
that.
could
So whereby
definitely
when you put
try.
the
You could
dollar sign,
definitely try that. If it works for you, then that's fine. If it works for you, then that's fine. But I guess we don't necessarily have to do all of the hard work ourselves, which is why I just did autofill for the mini one here. So if you just do like the first two, then you can spread the logic out by using autofill to the other fields that require the that same value. But if you find a better way of doing it, but it still works, then it's fine. The fundamental logic, so long as fundamental logic is applied, how you reference the cells, I don't think it should matter. But I'm not aware of any like dollar sign. I probably have to check that one out. Let me see. You said absolute referencing, right? like I said, I'm not a data analysis by by profession, so I'm just helping Babasunde out with these classes. So he probably knows a lot more than I do. Not probably, he knows a lot more than I do. So which the column coordinates stay constant one couple of right. Let me see what that. Okay. For and copies are now. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Yeah, I get. Yeah, I guess this would make more sense. So once you copy, it just knows which cell the. Yeah, okay. So seeing as I copied the formula from Joseph to to Mary, then instead of me having to manually change it from, is it B? Change it from B4, it will just change by itself if you use the dollar sign. So you use dollar sign A then 1 plus. I see. This makes sense.
So, look,
Yeah.
okay? Yeah, so I don't think you have to put the dollar sign because for mine that I practice now,
Okay.
I just do the auto fill by itself. No need for dollar sign. It changes. Excel knows that you moved to another column, so it changes it for you automatically.
Yes, yeah. So I think both statements are true. Also, if you can do it for you too. But you know how this dollar sign thing is also useful for, see how when I copy the formula, let me copy the formula here. If I copy everything here and I put it in this place here, which is B7, this is the seventh row. I want to compute the value for chemistry now. As an example, for chemistry for Joseph, and Joseph is in, his score for chemistry is in cell B7. Sorry, yeah, B7. If I pasted that formula here, is it not copy? Sorry, let me copy it again. If I pasted that formula here, it will just paste the the way it was written here. But that relative, what Duni was saying is that with relative referencing, instead of me to have to change it, like the initial values, right? Before I autofilled, I did Joseph, then I did Mary. Before I did the autofill, so that autofill will safely duplicate that logic. I always do. Me, I like to be on the safe side. Sometimes you do just for one cell, then you autofill, then it should do it automatically. But I just like to be on the safe side and do it for like a second value, a second column, then before I spread out, or a second row before I spread out. In your use case, I think that's what happened with you, Joseph. You probably just did it once, then you autofilled and did all the work for you. But I think this is something that could be useful in like other cases where when you are working and you want to copy one formula to another, you don't, maybe you are not doing autofill, maybe you just want that particular, just a single cell, and you're not doing autofill. You manually have to come and change the what's it called, the the cell names. But if you use relative referencing, according to this, it will just know that this should be B7, or rather where am I, self? Okay, I'm still in this same place, but anyway, you put it it will it's automatically know where it's supposed to replace this with the correct cell cell label or cell name. Useful, it's very useful. You should probably check it out and try it. I'll send the link in the chat. But anyways, are there any questions like aside from Duni, what she asked
So
regarding what we've
yeah,
done so far?
so so Paul,
Yeah.
from the little I know, I think Excel makes use of relative referencing. That's the default format for Excel. It's only when you want to see that you don't want it to change that you use calculated using. That's the little I know. By
Right.
default, Excel uses relative. Yeah.
You know what? I don't know enough to debate that. So maybe that's true. I don't know. Uh, Let me just send you that article. Let me just send you that article. So yeah, it's possible that that's the case as well. So, but anyways, it doesn't matter because it works. The goal is to be able to use those conditions to. That's why I said if you're able to reference your cell, so because we just need the value inside our cell, we don't really need all the extra uh, story there. Just get the value however you can, whether you are using absolute referencing or you are using relative references, whichever one your Excel is using. It could also maybe it's a version thing also. Maybe if you are using old versions of Excel, it wasn't the default before, but whichever one it is, your goal is to be able to fetch the value from those cells. And for me, I used absolute referencing and autofill to calculate the remaining one. So you can do the same, or you can do whichever method you find interesting. So aside that, any other questions before I continue? So everybody understands how we got here, right? Okay,
Yes.
okay, great. So we'll do the same thing for English and the other ones, albeit using autofill. Me, I'm going to copy the first one and do it like uh, we'll do it manually for the first two values, then we'll spread it out. So this one is b5 b5. I'm not going to do all of them. I'm just going to show you an example. Then so this is a, which is correct. 78, 75 and above is what's it called, a. So we'll do the same for Mary, although Mary is c. So highlight, but just give it a minute. Highlight both logic, spread them out, and it will autofill the rest for us. So now I have two rows. I can now spread it downwards. Now I've done it horizontally, but I should now be able to spread downwards. Now that I have this two, and hopefully it should do the exact same thing for each and every one of those rows. Obviously, we'll confirm from inspection. If it doesn't do it, then we'll just Control Z. So yeah, I think if you are following along, if you are like doing it as I'm doing it, you should just try autofill to see if it spreads everything downwards. So, can you still hear me? Hello? Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes. Yes.
Okay, okay. So this is okay. This is correct. A B
Yes.
B. Okay, yeah, looks accurate. Let's do this. I think my network is lagging. Uh, change some. Can you can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm just spreading the values out for the remaining. Aha, it's much faster now. It's my other internet that was just really slow. So this is the basis of using the if function and how you can nest if functions here. So as you can see, you can also use autofill to spread out the logic to other columns as well. Now the next thing that we will to look at is something called conditional formatting. Before we leave this if function for the last time, is there any question before I continue? Because I think I've covered everything under if. Yeah, under if. There's also, well, so you can use things like and or like boolean operators. Jesus. Maybe next class we'll cover that. Because it's also important to add logic using, yeah. We'll cover that in the next class. We'll cover it in the next class. I want to quickly show you one more thing before we enter this class, and that is conditional formatting. So conditional formatting allows you to edit what your cells look like based on the values that are in the cell. So based on those values, we can determine whether we should paint some certain number of cells or paint a certain cell, all of that stuff. Yeah. So to use conditional formatting, I think it's one of these. Yeah, this is it here. So you see here in this section, can you all see this portion? If you hover your cursor on it, it would bring this small dialog box up with the description of what it does. So it's conditional formatting. You click on that, then go to where is it? Manage rules, I believe. Yeah. So you go to manage rules. It will bring this stuff up in this sheet. So you can so there are two options here. You can select a portion of your entire spreadsheet, and that you want the formatting to apply to, or you could also just apply the format to the entire sheet itself, right? I'll show you why that this is useful or needed in the first place, but let's just highlight this our graded scores table. So we'll click on selection. So that is a selection as opposed to the entire sheet. Then we'll click on new row. So apply to range h4 plus the range is basically the selected what I selected. It starts from h4 to l11. So you can leave that there. The rule type is what should we do. So it's saying highlight cells with some condition, or uh, top slash what does this mean? We'll just pick these highlight cells for now. You can play around with all these other ones and see what they do. But just for now, we use this. You can also apply formulas conditionally, by the way, and that's what this is for. Then I'm not sure what this top slash bottom means. Then this is data bars, which are like I guess I can show an example of what those ones do. But for now, let's just do highlighting. Now we'll do based on the cell value. So you click on cell value or specific text as well. So if you are dealing with things that are not numbers, you use specific cells. If cell values I guess would be best for numeric values, so things that have numbers in them. So since we are using grades here, which are letters, then we should use specific text containing, so anything that has an A inside. How do we want to? So I typed that here. So you put the what you want to check for, or the condition. The condition here is A. So anything that has an A inside, we'll format it the following way. So the following way is I want the fill color to be green. Then, and this is a preview of what the cell would look like. This one that you're seeing down here is a preview. It should be green, then text to be red. I don't want the text to be red, so I'll change it to white. Yeah, this looks good. If you click on done, all cells that have a in them will be painted green according to the what I specified, and would have the text color to be white. Share you see. This is conditional formatting, and it is much more powerful than just painting stuff. Obviously, you can add more rules. So let's create another rule. So select this entire thing again, add another rule. This time around, let's highlight cells with specific text containing B. This time give them yellow to specify that they had a B. Actually, this color combination goes yellow, and this reddish looking color kind of goes. So yeah, and finally we have C. We'll highlight the whole thing again, click and add a new rule. Highlight cells. We want specific text to be containing C. If it contains a C, then I guess this is not too bad for a color combination, and voila, you now have we have conditionally formatted all of these ones here. So let's do one more using, let's say, data bars. Let's highlight this numeric bar. Let's now play around with normal numbers. So also selection, you click on plus. This time around, I don't want to highlight. I want data bars. So this data bar is like a bar basically. So if it's full, you can anticipate reason that if a bar is full, then 100%. If it's like half, 50%, something like that, I guess. So you just do. Then you can, I guess, you can change the color. There's gradient fill. There's solid. Let's just pick solid fill blue. Let's see what that does. So you see, given the values that are in the whoa. Okay, the call has not ended. I thought it had ended. 15 minutes left. Okay, we're almost done. So given the values that are here, to put a bar there, right? So because you see that 90 is obviously like closer to the end because it's 90. 78 is less filled, 90 more filled, so like that. See, 56 is less filled. It's basically like battery percentage. So that's what that bar stuff does. Let me control Z that. If that will control Z itself. Okay, it's control Z able. We'll highlight all of that. Another thing we can do is, well, let's see. So we can apply certain formulas to the, what's it called, to the values that we have in there. Say we want, you can imagine that you had let's see, you can imagine that you had I'm trying to think of a situation or a scenario where this would be very useful for you, but let's just say wanted to round number every cell that had numbers that numbers or decimal numbers with more than 4 decimal places. Like, remember last class, you had those long averages that, not long averages, but like averages with really long decimal values. I wanted to truncate them to just four decimal places. Then sorry. Then we could use something like this to say anything that has decimal place greater than 4, use the round function to truncate it down to 4 decimal places. So you can imagine something like this would be useful, like in cases like that. You can select cells directly on the grid format where this formula is true. So your goal here is okay. Actually, you can't even apply. Okay, you can't apply the formula. You can only just paint. Okay, I thought you could apply a formula given a condition. So what this will do is it will check if the formula is see if the formula is okay. This is the relative referencing that Tony was talking about. Basically, passing a formula. If the formula is in that cell, it will paint the cell for you. That's what this does. I guess that's not very useful for us. Anyways, discard that. So you can play around with the conditional formatting options there, here, and see what they can do. I've shown you 2 examples of them. The ones that deal with text values and the ones that deal with numeric values like numbers. So there are different options there. So yeah, next class we'll do a bit more on if the if function, then you using and or operators. Then after that, I think is the next thing is let me just check real quick. So far, any questions? Yeah, you can just talk.
Okay, those the graded scores, if I want to put them in ascending or descending order, would it work?
I believe so, but then you'll be messing up. I don't. Let's see. Can we do that? So because you need to you see that they're not side by side. Joseph is all the way here, and his graded scores are all the way here, right? So if you sorted them, because if you sort only this part, it will mess with the subjects here, because maths is B, but if you sort, then the A's will go on top, and then the B's will be down. But maths is not A, so you need to sort and make sure that you are sorting. What's it called? Make sure you are sorting alongside the actual scores and the actual labels here, subject. Come to think of it, so I'm not sure. Let's see, Sha. So we can. Where's that sort? Oh, it's not even highlighted here because is it because of the way I highlighted it? So okay, yeah, I think they have to be side by side. At least for it to make sense here, it's not like you can sort to, but you get what I'm saying, talking about like because of
Yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
hair.
yeah.
So I guess one way to do it would be to have the numeric values here, then the graded scores right next to each name. So after Joseph here, instead of putting Mary immediately after, you now put graded scores in in the next column, so that all of his graded scores will go there. Then if you now had to like sort them, or if you have to sort them, rather, then you can now highlight all 3 and then use that sort thing that we did last class to sort them. Because if you hold control and you select here and you select here and here, that sorting function it disappears, it doesn't work. So You have to highlight it next, right, as they are next to each other. Any other question? Pivot table and chart. Well, I guess we're done with Excel for the most part. The only just some. Where did I see it? Is here. See, do you see my cursor? This is it here. It might look a bit different on your own Excel, but it should be one of these table looking icons here. You just hover on top of each one, it should come up. Just you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
So where did you find the foundational formatting item?
Yeah, that's why I was saying that if you can you see my mouse?
Yes.
It's here for me. This is where it is. But on your own Excel, which version of Excel are you using? Using?
So 2016.
Does it look anything like? Well, if it should be somewhere here.
So Paul, you see it on that styles, or on the home report, on that styles.
Styles.
Yes, on the home report.
Okay, your home is labeled, Abby. Each of these sections are
Yes,
labeled.
yes, yes.
Oh, okay. Mine isn't labeled. Probably because I'm using the online stuff. Yeah, you see there. It's one of those. Thanks, Joseph. Any other question? So everyone is clear on what we did today. Okay. So I think next class is when we'll start Power Query. Power Query. Maybe it's Babs. I'll take it. But problem with Babasunde is he's not available on like this timing. So well, I'll ask him to communicate what his availability is to you on the Slack channel. So chances are he's going to be taking the next class, most likely. Then, but it might not be on Monday or Wednesdays. It could be likely he's going to be on a weekend. I don't know how well that works for you, but I'm trying to prevent that from happening. I'll try and prevent that from happening as much as I can. If not, then last result would be Pabatino to take the class. But because of his availability, chances are it will be on a weekend. But don't hold me to that just yet. Just know there's a chance it could be on a weekend. It's not 100% certain yet. Your assignment for this week or your practice. That is, it's not an assignment because I may or may not review all of them. But your practice, what you should practice on is this. So create an index of scores for students in your school. You are now a who does all of these things? Is it the teacher that? Yeah. In some schools, each class has a teacher then because it's not the same teacher that teaches all of these subjects. So who collates all the? I guess is the class teacher if they have a class teacher. So you are now the class teacher of some secondary school students, and you've been given the scores of each of your students in a couple of the subjects that they are offering. You may use your own set of subjects, or you can use this one I'm using here. But come up with the scores for like 5 fictional students, and give them made up scores. Then create graded scores table and their grades. Then write if statements that satisfy your own metric. So you don't have to use my metric here that is 75, A is 75 to 100. You can use your own metric, but make sure you put your metric here, your metric system here for assigning grades. Make sure you put it there so I can see it and know that this is what you're using, and you didn't just type in A B C D there. Then you now write the logic to say, and you know me, I only did values between A B C here. There's nobody, practically everybody passed here, and I should actually fail somebody here. Come to think of it, somebody is passing too much. This person 70 has zero. This guy in the I'll be Joseph. Oh, there's a Joseph on this call. Ah, wow, you vex. But me, I'm going to give you. I'm
This
going
guy has to
to. I'm going to give you an F here. Okay, F is too bad. Let's say 30. Right. So now we have a D here for once. And also notice that the conditional formatting just disappeared because there was an A here before, and now it has disappeared, which is also another thing because it is there. Is it's like Excel is reading all of this data and it knows when there's a change and it can quickly adjust to the change. So yeah, so you do all of that. Fail some students if you want. If you don't want, it's fine. You leave it like that. Just make sure that you spread out your values and as much as you can. So yeah, that's the assignment. Then if you want to use relative or absolute format referencing, that's fine, so long as you get the desired results. Yeah, so that's the assignment for this week. Then add conditional formatting like I did here to color or not color some cells or add different colors to some grids to identify. So if I see a green here, I know okay, this guy passed. Even if you didn't put the grade here, it could just be you just painted all of them and left out the grade. Then you now put another index here to say A is green, B is orange, so that when someone sees it, know okay. So we don't need to know what the values are. We know from here that that's what is there. So you can add a second index like we did here for the metric for the color grade, so whatever. So are there any questions regarding assignment or what we did today? This call is about to end though. It is going to end now. See you guys next class.